Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And this is part 6 of our series Frequently Asked JavaScript Interview Questions. First question in our video is, what is prototypal inheritance in JavaScript? So if we want to achieve inheritance in JavaScript, there is a way that is called as prototypal inheritance. Let's see what that is. Prototypal inheritance, it is a mechanism by which objects in JavaScript inherit properties and methods from other objects known as prototypes. So rather than class-based hierarchy in JavaScript, we make use of prototypal inheritance, and this allows us for code reusability for creation of new objects that build upon existing ones. How it works is there is something called as prototype. So prototype is this is an object that every JavaScript object has. So every object, if animal, rabbit, every object is going to have an internal property called prototype, which links to another object called its prototype. So there is chain of prototypes happening. Let's see an example. See, here we are having a object called animal and which is having property called eats, true. Then we are having a rabbit jumps, true. Now what we are doing, we are writing rabbit dot underscore underscore proto underscore underscore property is equal to animal. Then if we write console.log rabbit.eats, this will give us true. Answer will be true. And below, after that rabbit.jumps, that will also be true. Why this is happening? Let me explain you the logic how the inheritance happens. So what proto underscore underscore proto and then two underscores again. What this means is, what is the purpose of proto? This accesses the actual prototype. So actual prototype would be animals. So proto accesses the actual prototype object of an instance. Okay, so what in simple word what we can say is, in rabbit we are writing that its proto will be animal. So whatever rabbit is having currently, along with that it is going to inherit whatever is the properties which is coming from animal. So rabbit will have jump, rabbit will also have eat, because proto of rabbit is initialized with any animals. So along with rabbit's property it is going to have its animal, so it is going to rabbit is going to inherit the animals. So when we write console.log rabbit.eats, that is true, and rabbit.jumps, that will also be true. And if you want to check if it is inheriting or not, then what you can do is, if rabbit is inheriting properties of animal or not, if you write this, right, console.log rabbit underscore underscore proto double equals to animal, or animal dot prototype, anything you can write, prototype. So this or animal is also fine. This will give you answer as result that rabbit's proto is now it has become equivalent to animal object. So that is what is called as prototypal inheritance in JavaScript. Let's see next question. Next question is, what is this keyword in JavaScript? So this keyword refers to the object on which a method is being invoked, or the context in which the function is getting called. Okay, so it is like inside a object on what method, like on which a method is getting invoked, or a context in which a function is getting called. Let's see in an example. This is our object. It is having property first name, last name, and then there is a method called full name with a function returns this dot first name, this dot last name. So what will this dot first name console do? What is this dot first name and what is this dot last name? So this dot first name is John and this dot last name will be Doe. So this is what is called as this keyword. This is referring to the object, like what are the object in this, in which this function is getting called, or what is the context of this function. This, the context of this function is this object. Okay, object person. So if you write console.log person.full name, you will get answer as John space Doe. This is what you will get in console. Let's see the next question now. Next question is, how does JavaScript handle asynchronous operation? So JavaScript also handles asynchronous operations via callback queues. So there is something called as macro task queue, micro task queue, event loops, which are helpful in handling the asynchronous operations in JavaScript. Otherwise, JavaScript is a synchronous language, but it also supports asynchronous operation. Then what are the mechanisms of how we handle? So asynchronous uses mechanisms such as callbacks, promises, and async await to handle asynchronous operations. So if anyone is asking you this question, then you can mention about the three mechanisms. First is callbacks, which was introduced, like this is something which is existing in JavaScript from very beginning. Then promises, this was introduced in ES6. And then we have async await, this was introduced in JavaScript in ES8. So these are the three mechanisms of handling the asynchronous operation in JavaScript. Our next question is, what are JavaScript promises? So if anyone asks you this question, that what is JavaScript promise, then you can answer, promises are the objects. They represent eventual completion or failure of asynchronous operation. So asynchronous operation is something that is a big task, or it might happen after some time. So that is what is called as asynchronous, that we need not wait, like let this happen in background, but we will perform some other work currently. So that is what is called as asynchronous operations. Now promises, they are objects. They represent eventual completion, that in future this task might complete or it might fail, but there will be some kind of conclusion that whether it got completed or it failed. And they allow for more readable and manageable asynchronous code. So previously, to manage asynchronous code, we used to make use of callback, and in callback we used to have problem like callback hell, and it used to become our code, instead of increasing lengthwise, it used to increase horizontal wise. That is why it was called as callback hell or pyramid of doom, and it was very difficult for any developer to understand that what is written. After that, JavaScript in ES6 promises were introduced. So in this, if we see an example, that they are objects, right? Promises are object, so you have to write new promise. This will expect to argument resolve and reject. So you have to write resolve and reject, and then there will be a callback function. Then you will just write that if true condition, then resolve will happen, else reject will happen. And that is what will be passed in a promise, and this will not have value, actually this will have a promise. And then you have to this will have promise object. Then this you will have to handle using dot then dot catch, or you can also handle using async await. So this is what is called as promise. Our next question is, what is difference between null and undefined? So both of these things are like data types in JavaScript. If you have read about primitive data types, so null and undefined along with others, they are considered as data type in JavaScript. Null represents intentional absence of any object. Okay, if I write let variable name is equal to null, then I am intentionally saying that there is absence of value here. While undefined represents the absence of defined value. So if I just write let variable name, then it will get a value undefined, that I have still not initialized value, like value is not given yet. That is not intentional. But null is like intentionally we are giving that it is going to be null. But when it comes to undefined, in future it can have some value, I've just declared, in future I can initialize it. That is what is undefined means. And null is intentional absence of any object. So in this video we have covered on 5 important JavaScript questions. If you found this video useful, then do give it a like, and if you have any feedback, then you can let me know in comments. And you can subscribe to this channel for more content. Your support will motivate me to make more such videos. Thanks for watching, everyone.